Hi guys, it's Ken Scott back with another video on a different topic than the last one. Although I guess that's every video is a different topic. Anyway, Ken Scott, Senior US Immigration Information Intelligence Analyst with US Entry Waiver Services.com. Oh, actually, sorry, by the way, that's soon going to be Lord Ken Scott. That's another story entirely, but soon it's going to be Lord Ken Scott. So I actually already have that title now, but I'm finalizing some things in regards to that. So then it'll be Lord Scott. Anyway, moving right along, I want to talk about a different topic today. There seems to be some, again, guys, before I start, remember, we never offer any legal advice, legal services, or anything like that. So just FYI. So don't take any, what we're saying is actual legal advice, but this is just experience. This is just based upon years of experience that we've had in this industry from working in the field. So to oh. Yeah. Huh? Hi. Sure, I can see you. Okay. I'll come down. Okay. Right. All right, guys. Let me just pause this. I think I can pause this. The client just dropped in. Okay. Okay, guys, I'm back now. So the applicant came in. We discussed a few things and got things sorted with his situation, and he's good to go. Anyway, let me get back to the topic of what I said this video is going to be. This video is going to be about, I just hate using that word. I'm going to say massage. The US government calls it prostitution. I call it massage. So, or it's in the massage family. Now, in my personal opinion, there's nothing wrong with massage. In my opinion, I feel people, men or women, if they want to engage in massage, it's really no one's business. As long as they're voluntarily doing it, they're not being forced, they're willing to, to do it, at their own free will, yada, yada. It's really no government's business. Now, if the government wants to tax you for doing it, I'm on the fence about that. I don't think that should be taxed. Again, that's not the government's business, but that's a totally different topic. Unfortunately, in good old USA, because the USA, I hate to say it, the foundation, a lot of it is based on the Bible and all that stuff. A lot of these guards, if they find a female, I'll just see female, but if they find a female, they think she's doing massage, so to speak, they'll give her a lecture and tell her she's going to be burning in hell and all that good stuff. So I want to talk about how this has worked, how it's under the code. And again, remember, we don't offer legal advice, legal services. Well, this is just the experience that we have obtained from working in this industry for these decades. Under the immigration code category, it's a 212.2D, I believe. If you're deemed to have engaged in prostitution, then you're inadmissible, according to what the code says. They do have a time frame on that, according to the code. The time frame, it looks like it's a 10-year window. So, but there's also another way they could classify it. So I don't want to get too much into the technical aspect of this. The bottom line is, if they deem you to engage in prostitution, then you need a waiver according to what they say. The reason why I say that is because we get a lot of female clients who are accused of massage, and most of the time, or quite often, they didn't do it. Just because they're crossing over the border and the guard looks in the system and sees ads up with their faces or their names or their phone numbers or whatever way attached, the guard says you must be working in this field. So what they have to do in that kind of case, they have to get you to admit that you've engaged in massage. Now, if this is, let's say this is Sally, and Sally says, yes, the guard, I have had money for sex. So the guard has to ask you, ma'am, have you had sexual intercourse for money or get paid for it? And she says, yes, I have. Then even though she's not convicted of the prostitution, which in Canada, it's pretty much legal, it's not legal in the USA. Nevada is a different story, but it's not legal in USA. And the reason why I say that is because, and I had this discussion the other day. What people don't understand is in the USA, you've got federal law. Let's say federal law is federal. You have state law. Oh, like on the screen, it's like all turned around. So this is okay. This is left and this is right. Looks like I'm in a mirror, but anyway, on the left hand, you got federal law. The right hand, you have state law. So if the feds say you will not do something, but the state says you can do it, then quite often what that means is the state will not enforce it, but the feds will. Case in point, if Jim Smith is walking down the street in Seattle smoking a joint, and the Seattle PD sees it, and they say, you know, what are you doing? So I'm smoking a joint. It's okay, you know, enjoy your life, whatever. Or if the same gentleman has 4 joints in his pocket, they search him, find it's okay, have your life, you know, enjoy your life. They'll let him go. But if the DEA happens to be standing nearby and say, hey, you come here. What? What's in that pocket there? Well, it's marijuana. What else do you have? Well, I got some more joints. He technically could do some enforcement action because it's still illegal federally. Does it happen in reality? Probably not. Could it happen? Of course it could. So, but it's the same concept. So as long as you guys understand the difference between state and federal. I mean, federal is just imagine federal is the king. He's the king. The king can do no wrong, so they say. State is just basically like a local chieftain. The local chieftain doesn't care if you smoke all day, but the king says, hey, we told you not to smoke. And you say, well, the chief says, it doesn't matter. It's like, we don't care what the chief says. We are over the chief. That's the easiest way to explain state and federal without going to like technical jargon, yada, yada, and boring you guys. So it's the same thing, well, with the marijuana for that matter, is true too, but it's the same thing with the prostitution. The feds don't like it because it's against the federal law, but the state may or may not care. Like in Nevada, I think in Nevada, though, it's only one county where it's legal. But you guys get the picture. So anyway, the person said to me, she said, well, Ken, whatever I did, it was never in USA. I said, well, yeah, it doesn't matter the way they look at it. Even if you did it in London, England, which in England, it's legal. If you did it in England, and obviously the border won't know about it, but if you told the guard, well, yeah, this is what I did in England, then you just talked yourself into needing a waiver, because even though you were not convicted, by your voluntary admission, people don't understand about the voluntary admission part of this stuff. And I'm not going to go into the codes, whatever, but essentially the code does say that any relevant conviction you have, and I'm just basically just dumbing it down, but any relevant conviction you have that makes you inadmissible, you need a waiver. But any offense that you've done, even though you were never convicted, but you voluntarily admit to it, you talk yourself into needing a waiver, and a voluntary admission is the same as a conviction. So it is what it is. So the people who have like pages of criminal history, like charges, but never convicted, they get this, they understand it. It doesn't have to be explained to them. And ironically, those people are actually a lot easier and quicker to get this stuff sorted out than the people who've never had any kind of interaction with police, because they understand how the system is designed. They understand how to make the appropriate presentation, so to speak, when they address officials. And 99 times out of 100, those people just walk away. But the person who's never been in trouble tends to have diarrhea of the mouth, and that person really gets screwed, really gets screwed. Not just talking about massage business. I'm talking about even with the weed smoking and a bunch of other stuff. So I'm not going to give you guys any, legal advice, tell you what to do. I already know how to solve it. It's just as easily as if you look outside and you see clouds and you see water falling from the sky. And you say, Ken, what's that? Oh, it's called rain. I know how to solve it, but I can't advise you how to solve it. I can pass on the information to you, and you can make your own decision based upon the information that you have perceived, if that makes a difference. Kind of like, for example, if you're dropping a bowling ball on your foot, let's say you got a bowling ball held up, you're constantly dropping it on your foot, and you say to me, Ken, my foot hurts. Why does your foot hurt? Well, I keep dropping this bowling ball on my foot. I cannot advise you. I cannot say, well, don't drop the bowling ball on your foot, because that's advising. But if I say to you, I said, well, Diane, apparently it's been proven in medical science, based on this website and based on these textbooks, that if you drop a bowling ball on your foot from, 6 feet in the air repeatedly, there's probably a good chance you're going to get an injury, if not pain. And if Diane says, well, what do I do? I said, well, I can't tell you what to do. I can just tell you this is what the book says. And if you keep dropping it, you get pain. So if Diane says, well, shit, I'm not going to drop it anymore. I say, hey, if that solves the problem, that's your choice. You know what I mean? So in that sense, I did not advise you. I passed on the information to you, and you decide to do with it as you see fit. So if that makes any sense, because I had to put that out there, because some people are clueless, they just don't get it. So in a nutshell, and this applies to some guys too, you cross that border, if they think that you're engaging in massage, whether they find ads on your phone, ads online, you voluntarily admit to it, well then, there's a good chance you're going to need a waiver. Whether you need a waiver for that smaller 10-year period or for life, it just depends on your circumstances and whatever's in the system, whatever you voluntarily admit to. So we're gonna make a change about this soon, because there's some things we got in the works where we're gonna have the ability to actually advise you guys this kind of stuff. So that's a project in the works. I won't go into that too much detail right now, but hopefully that project should be up and running by, this is what, December, January, I would say by April. And if it's up and running by April, then the tables are going to turn, and then we can actually tell you special particulars about things. So, which is fine. It's just bureaucratic BS. So, but what it boils down to is this. Like I said before, when you're crossing that border, whatever you voluntarily admit to may or may not be used against you. So, two good individuals I know here, two hardworking men, they were accused or charged with trafficking 3 times, but they were never convicted. So because they were never convicted, they don't need a waiver. They were charged with moving cocaine, like bricks of cocaine, by the trunk load, so to speak. But the thing is, the 2 gentlemen were innocent. Now, yeah, they were charged with 3 separate occasions, 3 times, but I think the first time was mistaken identity, second time was mistaken name, and the third time, I think they were in the wrong place, wrong time, but they were nowhere near the actual event. So essentially, they were innocent each time. They had absolutely no knowledge whatsoever of anything, nothing. So they went down to the border, and the guard saw the charges, so they weren't convicted. So the guard says, "I'm going to catch a fish." So the guard tried to, grill them. But the thing is, I guess the problem for the guard was the fact that these gentlemen, because they're hardworking individuals, those 3 events were during a period of their lives which was very traumatic. So because they could not recall details of the offense, or the offenses, or the allegations, they could not provide the guard with any info. And because they could not provide the guard with any info, the guard could not use their voluntary admission against them, because they admitted to nothing, because they cannot recall details of what happened. I mean, it's like 1 + 1 = 2. The guard didn't like it, of course. The guard says, well, you must remember something. And they explained the fact that, yeah, it's a very traumatic time period in their lives, and they're really sorry about it. They offered their lawyer's business card, and they could talk to the lawyer to get further info. The guard said, no, it's okay, that's fine, have a nice day. They didn't need it. Same thing happened to another couple, this male-female couple we have. They went down to the border, and the guard was grilling them about so they said, yes, we were in university, we did some, I think they said they did it like 10 times or whatever, something like that. Anyway, there was a gentleman in the corner who was handcuffed, gentleman, I don't want to say juiced up because he's natural build, built like the Incredible Hulk, tattooed up and down here, whatever, his chains on, yada, yada, and shades. And he had $8,000 cash in his pocket. And the gentleman, he had charges for trafficking in the past, for money laundering, charges for home invasions here in Surrey. But the thing is, the same with that gentleman. He was innocent. He was never convicted of that. He only had one conviction, and that's mischief. Mischief does not require a waiver, so he's fine with that. So this gentleman, I don't know, I guess apparently when people have trauma, sometimes their brains block out like the event, like in PTSD or whatever. I mean, I'm not a mental health specialist, so don't quote me, although the administrator is. So the same thing with this gentleman. He didn't recall a lot of the details behind it because it was so long ago, yada, yada. And they uncuffed him. When I say they, I mean CBP uncuffed him. They shook his hand and said, sorry about that, sir. Have a nice day. So she decided to say to the guards, after the guy left, why are you letting him go? Look at him. He must be a criminal. The guard told her to shut up. And the guard says, that gentleman had a really rough time today. He had a rough past. He suffered a lot of trauma. Don't worry about him. We don't want any goddamn dope smoking hippies in our country. And I know it's a true story because the fact that the couple, when they came in, told us what happened, that gentleman also was a waiver applicant. And he told us the same story. And he said, man, there was just a couple there today. This wasn't today, this was a while back. There was a couple there at the border. They were just getting reamed by the guards. And all they just for telling them to smoke weed. I said, what happened to you? He said, well, they let me go. It was just all in error. So I said, but you don't smoke. He said, no, never smoked in my life. Never done any drugs. I've never done anything. I said, exactly. I'm an innocent individual. But because a couple smoked marijuana and they voluntarily admitted to it, because when you voluntarily admit to something like that, you're admitting to drug possession because, let's say this is a doobie. This right here is a doobie. So if you're doing this, what are you doing? You're smoking. But if you're smoking your doobie like this, where's the doobie? It's in your hand. So if it's in your hand, what does that mean? I mean, you're possessing it because if it's in your hand, it's in your possession. So when you explain that to the guard that you're smoking a doobie, you're essentially admitting to drug possession because you smoked it, it's in your hand. Well, if you use the bong is still in your hand. Even if the bong is on the table and you bent down to take a toke, you're still possessing it because you're possessing it because it's going into your lungs. So, I mean, we can split hairs all day here, but when the day is over, you admitted to drug smoking. So you admitted to drug possession. And that's what happened to the couple. Same thing with the massage, when you guys come in, we can go over it in much greater detail. We can, kind of touch upon a few things here and there. So we will never give you advice on what to do, what to say, or provide you any legal service. That's not what we do. But we're going to tell you, basically hands-on from the field, give you field experience, how it works and how it happens. So, and that field experience is worth a lot more than some guy at Johnny Jones's law firm who says, well, the book says this, the book says that. Johnny Jones has no clue. I said, well, yeah, Johnny Jones, the book says that, but in actuality, this is how it's done in the field. So you guys can, I don't know, you guys can listen to Johnny Jones and end up having to deal with this stuff for the rest of your life and screwed. Or if you come to us, hey, it might be different. You never know. Anyway, I don't want to bore you guys too much. It's a bit of a long video. So Ken Scott, Senior, US Immigration Information Intelligence Analyst with US Entry Waiver Services.com. And we're at 1-888-908-3841 or 604-332-9213. And again, like I said earlier, soon it's going to be Lord Scott. So that's coming down the pipeline. But you guys know about that in the future. But we're the only Canadian business with 6 locations globally, including one in London, England, Washington State, Green, BC, and one in Estonia, Tallinn, Estonia. So I got to brush up on Estonian now because it's been a while since I've been there. But we got a video of an Estonian office as well. Well, the Tallinn Estonian office. But anyway, I won't bore you guys. So enjoy your day. And in the words of my Vulcan colleague, live long and prosper.